5 o'clock news, and you'll be on Channel 4.
Yeah.
Here's how the Rock Island yard looked yesterday. And this is how it looked today. 2,000 to 3,000 people were expected, but only 200 to 300 came. This is an auction to sell off parts of the bankrupt Rock Island. It looks like any other auction, complete with a drone of an auctioneer.
Hot $1.75, $2 on it. Hot $1.75, you can get $2 middle out, $2 middle out, $2 middle out, 2 1/4. Hot 2, you're out, 2 1/4, now 2 1/2, hot 2 1/2.
And children doling out Cokes and barbecue sandwiches. One would think that these people are here to buy a bit of nostalgia, a souvenir, a bit of history from the Rock Island Railroad. That's not the case. These people are here for practical reasons.
We thought there might be some items that we could use in our line of business out here. We're always looking for bargains, and sometimes at these auctions you can find them.
Yeah, it's a great thing for the people and the bidders in Oklahoma and elsewhere, but it's sure bad for the Rock Island, for they got to sell the stuff for about 2 cents on the dollar. Pitiful.
Well, I'm from Odessa, Texas, and I'm in the surplus business, and I'm purchasing some of this merchandise. Junk when I buy it, merchandise when I sell it.
While 200 to 300 people came today, the crowd may be considerably smaller tomorrow. As one man put it, who drove over 200 miles from Sherman, Texas, well, this was nothing but junk. But, as the saying goes, one man's junk may be another man's treasure. Bella Shaw, Action 4 in El Reno.
This is Sissy Spacek's first film since winning her Oscar for The Coal Miner's Daughter. And once again, she puts in her regular fantastic performance. She plays a rather spry and spunky divorcee who's got her work cut out for her at home. That's because her work is in her home. She's a telephone operator, and the switchboard is located in her house. Add to that the fact that she's also trying to raise 2 little boys, and you've got yourself one busy woman. The time is 1944. The place is a small town in Texas. One rainy night, a sailor played by Eric Roberts knocks at the door. He wants to use the phone. As it turns out, he stays for a couple of days, and he becomes close to Nita and her children. There are 2 local rednecks who spend most of their time playing pool, drinking beer, and talking about the young divorced woman. They ask her out. She says take a hike, and the trouble begins. At one point, the rednecks taunt Nita's boys. The sailor steps in, the fight breaks out, and it's time to sit down and talk.
You kids do not leave this yard.
Don't be too hard on them, Nita.
I can't keep an eye on this switchboard, and them too. If they're running here, there, and yon, all over town.
Yeah, well, you can't lock them up either. That's no good. They're just kids.
I know they're kids, Teddy. They happen to be my kids. I meant what I said. And don't you go telling them anything different.
Throughout the film, you occasionally see the Raggedy Man. He's played by Sam Shepard. He's a mysterious figure lurking about the town. Not much is said about him, but you'll find out soon enough. After Roberts returns to his sailor duties, the film takes on a more sinister tone. We've got the 2 jerks again. They try to put their move on Nita. Now, I'm going to stop here and end by saying the film has suspense and light romance. Sissy Spacek's husband, Jack Fisk, directed the movie, and I found his work to be very good. The movie is entertaining with an unusual twist for an ending. I'm Dean O'Lally.
Yes, sir. He said if he sees one police officer comes up and he'll shoot the hostage.
Oklahoma City police kept a wide perimeter around the 5200 block of Jones Boulevard. The man inside the house reportedly held a sawed-off shotgun on his hostage and had a pistol in his belt. The situation started about 5:30 this afternoon when the suspect and another man robbed a convenience store in Del City. Del City police gave chase, riddling the getaway car with bullets, but missing the two men. They drove to this neighborhood where one of the suspects burst into the house, taking a man, his wife, and small child hostage. A policeman talked the suspect into releasing the woman and child, but he kept the husband and threatened to kill him if he saw a policeman. The SWAT team was called in as police blocked off the area and began negotiating with the suspect by telephone.
It's not a fun side, such as the rides, games, and food. No, it's not like that at all. Every year, thousands of people go to the fair, and every year, people leave to find their cars stolen, or become involved in fights, or even more tragic. Many find months and thousands of dollars gone from their lives. Many people visiting the fair partake in an alcoholic beverage. Some are accommodated at the fair, while others arrive intoxicated or on some other type of drug. This may all seem in the spirit of the fair, but it can lead to tragedy. Early this morning, 3 people were seriously injured when a vehicle going the wrong way on I-40 hit a pickup truck with Illinois tags. The woman driving that pickup truck is in critical condition. The male riding with her is listed as stable. The driver of the car traveling in the wrong direction is also in stable condition. AmCare units arrived at the scene to find the woman trapped in the pickup truck. Several attendants worked with her as firemen cut away the door. Another major concern for the firemen was the fact that the truck was leaking gas. Hoses were brought in to wash away the flammable liquid. The passenger of the vehicle traveling in the wrong direction told Action 4 he and his friend had come from Mott, Oklahoma to visit the fair. He said they had been to the fair and had been drinking. The passenger said he thought the accident was their fault because they got lost and got in the wrong lane. Those injured were taken to University Hospital. Their identifications have not been released. Sherry Sellers, Action 4.
Litter from soft drink and beer containers has been an unsightly problem in Oklahoma, but 6 states have cleaned up their act by placing a deposit fee on all beverage containers. It usually varies from 5 to 10 cents. That's what Oklahoma lawmakers are studying. Today they heard from people in favor of the plan and those against.
A deposit law in Oklahoma would certainly clean up a great deal of the state, and it would get rid of the bottle and can litter now that's probably the most hazardous part of the litter in the state. We also like it because it will ensure that a lot of resources are conserved. So all these bottles and cans will be reused or recycled.
Well, I'm opposed to it because I don't feel it'll solve the problem, number one, and number two, it will increase the cost to the consumer at the retail level because of the additional handling costs involved at store level. Sorting, stacking bottles, providing a place for storage, cleaning the bottles, and the same thing has to be done by the distributor that we get the bottles from. So I don't think it will solve the problem.
Many people say sites like this one would be cleaned up if people could make money on litter. The 5 or 10 cent deposit fee on each bottle could add up. But grocers maintain it all adds up to more problems for them, with the consumers paying for it in the long run. Bella Shaw, Action 4.
The Norman residents are up in arms over OU's plans to place a multi-million-dollar energy center just east of campus. The construction project would gobble up a number of privately owned and rental homes in the Second State neighborhood. Many of the neighborhood residents would like to see the center built on university-owned land.
You're going to have to tear something down. The decision is, do you tear down a neighborhood? Do you tear down housing? Do you tear down houses that have been renovated in the last 4 and 5 years? Or do you tear down old structures? Do you tear down and clean out your own core of your central campus? All those red facilities, none of them are academic facilities. They're warehouses, they're lock and key shops, they're carpentry shops. Clean up your own yard and then talk to us. That's what I'm suggesting to you.
Well, I'm just explaining the economics of those two decisions. So the main consideration was the academic program. In addition to that, we took a look at the costs associated with the purchase of that land, and subsequent to that took a look at the feasibility of tearing down those structures around the physical plant area and the implications for the utility tunnel, which of course is housed there, the main part of it. And essentially that is the cost of doing that.
Tonight's meeting was not a public hearing. Comments were limited to neighborhood association spokesmen and university officials. But judging from tonight's turnout, OU will be hearing a lot more from the public. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Norman. The Guthrie Police Department has 20 police officers and 7 patrol cars to protect the town's citizens. But today, this black and white was the only unit patrolling Guthrie neighborhoods. 5 of the other prowl cars have fallen victim to old age and to the town's numerous unpaved streets.
About half of the department's fleet is here at the Guthrie City Garage, where mechanics are working feverishly, trying to get the busted patrol cars back out on the streets.
So far, it's been a losing battle. 3 of the cop cars are permanently out of commission. 2 more need substantial mechanical repair. The police department plans to purchase 3 new cars within the next couple of months. In the meantime, the department will have to make do with the equipment it has.
We try to keep at least 2 vehicles out all the times. I see no problem, because there's a lot of towns a little smaller than this maybe, but just have one car out at night. They have no problems, so we've not ran into any problems yet.
Short says he hopes the department can avoid future car crunches by trading old cars for new cars before they wear out. Scott Wallace, Action 4 in Guthrie.
Former Oklahoma County Commissioner J.P. Dick Richardson came to federal court today, prepared to listen to more testimony in his mail fraud and extortion trial. Richardson has 15 counts of extortion against him, where he allegedly received illegal kickbacks. He is the latest person the federal government is focusing on as part of the FBI investigation into county government corruption. Oklahoma County Clerk Jerry D. Woody finished up his testimony today. He told of purchase orders made for Richardson's district and that Richardson's signature on the orders were stamped on, but prosecutors say the stamps could only be made with Richardson's permission. Donna Shelby, who is a sales manager and bookkeeper for the Midwest Steel Corporation, was next to testify. Shelby said that Richardson bought all building materials from Guy Moore, who worked as a representative for Midwest Steel. Richardson is accused of being paid $1,700 or a 10% kickback from Moore. The government alleges more than $10,000 was paid to Richardson in kickbacks while Moore was doing business with Oklahoma County. FBI agent Henry Givens was the next witness for the prosecution. He testified he put a hidden microphone on Guy Moore to record Moore allegedly paying Richardson $1,700 in kickback money last year. In cross-examination, defense attorney Dwayne Miller asked Agent Gibbons if he ever saw money change hands or if he ever searched Moore's car for the money after he met with Richardson. Gibbons answered no to both questions. FBI agent Melanie Bim was with Agent Gibbons when the recording was made last year in September. But when she got on the witness stand, the defense questioned her about talking with Agent Gibbons during a 10-minute recess, apparently accusing the two agents of now trying to give the same story. Judge Luther Eubanks was asked for a mistrial from the defense because of the FBI conversation. The judge denied the request because he felt the conversation was not to collaborate stories. But the jury was asked to leave for a short time while Judge Eubanks warned all witnesses from now on not to talk about this case with each other until the trial is over.
Tomorrow, the government is expected to put a star witness on the stand, that being Guy Moore, the material supplier. And they're hoping to play the tape conversation where Richardson was allegedly paid the $1,700 kickback. In a past county commissioner trial, the government thinks it was that kind of evidence that produced a guilty verdict. And they think the same result will happen in the Richardson trial. Ed Stewart, Action 4 at the federal courthouse.
Where did you get the gun? Well, whoever it was that called in. What are you going to do?
We're running now.
Okay.
Well, we got a short time. I would imagine he left the hammer down when one was in. Personal waiver.
Body search? Yeah.
Infectious mononucleosis, commonly called glandular fever or just mono, is a viral illness which causes fever, sore throat, swelling of the lymph glands, and, in many people, enlargement of the spleen and inflammation of the liver or hepatitis. It tends to affect teenagers and young adults predominantly, and because so many cases occur when youngsters go off to school, it has been nicknamed the kissing disease. Well, despite that nickname and its official name, infectious mononucleosis, this disease is not very infectious. Researchers who have studied mono say that it is very difficult to find people who got sick, even after having close contact with someone known to have the disease. The illness itself varies greatly from person to person. The typical story involves a 2-week period of acute illness, followed by a period of convalescence that may take several months. During this recovery period, most people complain of severe weakness and very easy fatigability. The overwhelming majority recover without any lasting problems, although there are some very rare deaths caused by mono. The only treatment available is rest. Doctors used to keep patients in bed for weeks or months, but this practice is no longer followed. In patients who do have enlargement of the spleen, however, it is necessary to restrict violent physical activity, such as contact sports. If mononucleosis is suspected, there are several blood tests which can be done to confirm the diagnosis, although they are not 100% reliable. There is one consoling thought about this disease if you find you've got it. The infection leaves you with permanent immunity. Once you've had mono, you will never have to worry about getting it again. I'm Dr. Art Xylene. I hope you're feeling fine.
"17-year-old Susan Calkins of Moore had been missing since late Tuesday night when she was last seen by her friends at the fair. Her mother, Patsy Calkins, informed the authorities, and they began searching today. Well, just about an hour ago, Miss Calkins reported that her daughter has been located and was apparently staying at a friend's house. She had not been harmed in any way. But there's still no news on 15-year-old Elisa Rodriguez of Oklahoma City, who's also been missing from the fair since Tuesday. Today, a little boy found her purse in the weeds near a gate into the park area. Elisa's reported to be a part-time employee for Ogden Foods at the rodeo arena. She was last seen after the fair closed by the walkway near the kiddies' rides. And the search continues for 2 more Oklahoma City girls who have not been seen or heard from since last Saturday. 13-year-old Charlotte Kinsey and her friend 13-year-old Cindy Pallett were reportedly offered a job from this carnival worker, 36-year-old Don Corey. Corey's now charged with 2 counts of kidnapping in connection with their disappearance.
I remember reading somewhere that Joan Crawford once said that Faye Dunaway was one of those young actresses everyone should keep their eye on, that she was very good. It would be interesting to see what Miss Crawford's reaction would be to this movie, Dunaway's performance, and for the book from which the screenplay is taken for that matter. We might have another book out called Daughter Dearest. Nevertheless, Faye Dunaway puts in a powerful performance. Her resemblance to Miss Crawford is simply amazing. Now you have to remember the screen adaptation for this movie did come from Christina Crawford's vengeful book about her mother. And with that, this movie is at times brutal. At other times, it's awkward. In one scene, Crawford is strangling Christina, and it's almost funny. In another scene, though, Crawford flies into a rage because she finds a wire hanger in Christina's closet, and she beats her with it.
No wire hangers ever!
Not so funny. We do see a little love between the two, and we see the competition.
You're bigger than I am. It's not fair to win twice.
Ah, but nobody ever said that life was fair, Tina. I'm bigger and I'm faster. I will always beat you.
Then I'm not going to play with you anymore.
And we see the tension.
Darling, rare meat is good for you. The doctor said so. Christina, meat loses its vitamins if it's overcooked.
But I've had my vitamins this morning. Pills.
She negotiates everything like a Hollywood agent. Christina, eat your lunch. You are not getting up from this table until you have finished that meat.
Mara Hobel, the little girl who plays Christina, is outstanding. As the older Christina, Diana Scarwood, is not as good. Now, it's common knowledge that sometimes a lot is lost between a book and its movie equivalent. To be honest with you, I don't know if that's true in this case. I haven't read the book yet, but I'm going to. But for now, Mommie Dearest as a movie is high-powered, and I wouldn't be surprised if Faye Dunaway gets an Oscar nomination for her performance. I'm Dean O'Lally.
Saw it. Now we're at an angle over
there, direction somewhat, but how far back, like I said, I don't know.
R-E-N-E-A-U.
Thank you. What exactly did you see tonight? At what time?
About 9 p.m. I was standing on my front porch of my house looking at my tower, seeing that my guy wires were holding because it's pretty windy. And I looked up in the air and saw a small craft, and about that time lightning struck it. And you could see that it did strike it because it's headed down, straight down almost at an angle, hard, you know, vertical angle down. And fire was trailing as it went down, and from there I called the highway patrol, and I told them, you know, advised them that there was a possibility of a small craft went down. They said okay. And
you feel almost certain it was an aircraft?
Yeah, I've seen lightning strike aircraft before, and I saw the strobe lights on it, so I know it was an aircraft of some type. It was too high for a telephone pole.
Five train cars somehow jumped the tracks while traveling through Wagoner this morning. Authorities are grateful only 5 of the more than 100 cars derailed, and that no one aboard was injured during the accident.
Workers expect the cleanup operation to take the entire day. They're taking their time because of a chemical spill, the chemical Xylene, which is highly flammable. And officials are warning all residents in the area of the derailment not to light any fires until the cleanup operation is entirely over.
Officials from the Missouri Pacific train line had to keep a close eye on the Xylene as it leaked from the overturned tank. The chemical was allowed to keep spilling until it formed puddles of Xylene, just as long as the puddles didn't get too close to work crews. Saws were used to cut into sections of the track, and if one spark reached the Xylene, there would have been a major explosion. Fortunately, there never was a fire of any kind. Railroad officials say it's essential to get the track operational as soon as possible because of all the other goods that must be delivered. There were other spills in the derailment, but none with the potential danger Xylene has. Wagoner Mayor Kenneth Peter tells of some precautionary measures taken against the Xylene spill.
It took us about 3.5 hours to get it cleaned up, and we had the roads blocked, and we did evacuate 3 or 4 stores down there, and we evacuated a meat processing plant and a house, trailer house. That's what we evacuated.
How dangerous a situation was it? This Xylene is pretty potent stuff.
Yeah, it's got a flash point of 90 degrees, so it's pretty potent, and it irritates your eyes and your respiratory system. And of course, the wind was blowing, and we were lucky there that it broke it up and the vapors blew on off.
Officials expect a detailed report completed in a day or two on what they think caused this derailment and why this accident is so close to one that recently happened. Ed Stewart, Action 4, and Wagoner.